welcome back to another episode of the Fake Friends podcast. We are your hosts. What's going on? A lot of new news, a lot of new events, a lot of things going on. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, man. What's up? Still no baseball. Probably be saying it until we got baseball. What else is cool? I guess there's a war going on. Maybe that's why there's no baseball. Remember when guys left baseball to go fight in a war?
Yeah.
Remember that time?
Yeah, they went and flew planes and then came back and rolled out of bed and raked.
Still hit 40 home runs in a season. Batted 3-something. Pretty wild. Crazy times there. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's that time of year where if you're a baseball player, you get an itch for just baseball, whether it's to play it, to watch it, and not being around is kind of throwing something off its axis. College basketball, it's fun to watch. March Madness kicking off. Shout out to my brother's team. They made the tournament. Division 2. Division 1 should be fun. They got some cool teams in there. So, looking forward to it, man, in the world of sports. A lot going on. Basketball season wrapping up. I think the Suns go back to the finals. Got a Suns Western Conference Finals with Warriors if everybody's healthy, maybe. Memphis is also exciting. That'd be pretty cool.
I think Memphis is gonna make a legit chance there.
Be really cool to see them go. Big Ja Morant fan. So, yeah.
Back on the topic of baseball. So got some rule changes coming in starting in 2023. We'll say goodbye to the shift. That's good. Need to get rid of that.
Yeah. They just got to throw, execute pitches.
I don't know why. The argument is, well, hitters need to adjust. It's like, no. So here's the thing. Here's why the shift doesn't belong in baseball, and it's just simple.
Do you know? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Yeah, go ahead.
You're loading one side of the field. Then you're pitching to that zone to make sure the ball's hit there. So you're not getting the ball in play ordinarily enough, and you're taking away opportunities for action, for guys to get on and have action. On top of, you don't pay your best hitters to bunt the ball down the lines to get on. I don't care. Fans don't pay for that shit. That's not baseball. Now, that is an adjustment to the shift, but you don't fucking play baseball to have your Bryce Harpers, your Mike Trouts, and all these guys, because they're shifted on. Everyone's shifted on to just bunt the ball. So everyone's literally shifted on. Even your shitty hitters, they're all shifted on. You're going to just tell them, hey,
the 8 hitter.
Everyone bunt down the line. That's not baseball. That's stupid. Get rid of the fucking shift. It's stupid. It's fucking pony league bullshit.
So two things I want to kind of just, piggyback on that take there. One, do you know, you play baseball, how much control do you have after you hit the ball? Like where it goes?
0.
None.
0. It's that easy.
I control nothing after I hit it.
You might be in your head. Oh,
yeah, I might have some barrel control and be able to.
I have an idea of how maybe I want to control the barrel.
That's called timing, but that's just a matter of when I hit.
Yeah.
And you hit it on no. Nobody pays. Nobody buys a ticket. Nobody turns on TV to watch Bryce Harper, Ronald Acuna,
Soto
go up to the bat, go up to the plate 3 times and bunt, or here's what they also don't understand they're saying. Like, hey, hitters adjust. So you want me to stop trying to drive the ball gap to gap, and you want me to try to hit a ground ball or a lazy ground ball to the opposite field of what they're shifted on. You want me to adjust my swing to do that. Nobody wants to see that. And it's not even just nobody wants to see it. Like you said, it's not baseball.
Not baseball.
For one, here's why the shift shouldn't exist. Hitting's hard enough. Without a shift, guys only get hits 3 out of 10 times. Like the superb hitters.
Yeah.
Without a shift.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we shifting for? And I never understood why we shift on home run hitters, power hitters, because you don't want them to hit the ball out the ballpark. If they hit a single, you're happy.
Yeah.
So like, why are we upset if they drive one over our second baseman's head or through a 5-4-3 hole? They hit a single, you're good.
Yeah, make the pitcher throw a fucking ground ball.
That's what also blows. It's not like they were pitching to guys and they're like, hey, move everybody. Let's put our shortstop and our second baseman in the left center and the right center to take away the doubles. No, we're just going to move them over and take away actual, hits that guys either rolled over or were just out in front of.
Yep.
It shouldn't exist. And I'm sure you'll have like, who's the guy that ratted out the Astros?
Mike Fiers.
You'll have guys like him who probably get up on some podcast like this or not and say, yeah, well, guys should just learn how to hit better and make adjustments at the plate and shouldn't take away the shifts because it's an advantage, blah, 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 blah. And that's what it would sound like to me. Just blah, 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 I suck. Because if you're a pitcher, because if you're a pitcher and you can hit your spots and you have good enough stuff, you can get guys out. They were doing it before they put the third baseman in right field. So I don't know why all of a sudden it's brand new.
In the words of a legend, Jake DeGrom don't need no freaking shift.
Hey, man. Hey, then don't need it.
Don't need it. It's so stupid.
Don't need it. Now, I will say you could say it's the same counter argument. Like, hey, we're telling pitchers to be better, and people who want the shift are just telling hitters to be better. But I don't think that's the same thing when it comes to telling a hitter to be better, because the hitter adjusting to
a pitcher has more control over where he's putting the ball than the hitter does where he's hitting the ball. That's the fucking fact. That's also fine. You want to remove that argument? That's fine. Just to so you can be as fair and not hypocritical as possible. That's fine. At the end of the day, it's not baseball to have guys be changing their approach and bunting to get on because you want to stack one side of the field because you just want them to hit the ball there. That's called not fucking baseball.
The thought
pony league bullshit.
Somebody for the two people that watch this podcast, aka me and you, the thought is that you have this information, you have all of these statistical facts, I'll call them. And what I mean by that is you have a body of work. You have 500 at bats from Bryce Harper. Let's use him for an example. 500 at bats from Bryce Harper. And let's say he goes on a tear and he has 200 hits. And out of those 200 hits, he has 30 home runs. He's got 20 doubles in right center, some down the line, left center, and then he's got some singles. So a quarter of his hits are power hits, right? And now he's got 150 singles. And out of those 150 singles, 80 of them, over half of them, are in the 4-3 hole or just to the right of your second baseman. So put that on paper, and from an advanced scouting standpoint, you're like, hey, why don't we put another defender here where he hits the ball majority of the time when he does hit it to get a hit, so we can take away the hits. Now, again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible. Having that information makes all the sense in the world. Let's put another defender there so we keep him off the bases, because Bryce Harper's a base stealer. We don't want him to get on base, I guess. When really the thought is, hey, we don't want Bryce Harper to hit a 2-run, 3-run home run, or we don't want Bryce Harper to hit a double and put himself in scoring position. And you know how you defend that? It has nothing to do with putting a defender in short right field. It's called pitch him, not allow him to do that. It's called don't give him a pitch to hit. It's called execute your pitches. Don't make a mistake, because the 30 bombs he hits out are mistakes. The 20 doubles he gets, 40 doubles he gets are mistakes. That's what people don't understand. Like, guys don't hit 50 home runs on 50 good pitches. No. They don't hit 45 doubles on 45 good pitches.
No.
That's not how it works.
There's probably like only a handful of guys in the league that actually hit home runs off pitchers' pitches. You could probably all name them. You know what I mean? Like Vlad, Tatis,
If that.
That's about
it.
That's about it. Like I said, a handful. There's not many guys that can do it.
And that might be, they might do that 5 times in a year, maybe.
Right.
Like, that's why, and I was saying all that to negate the argument of, well, you're telling pitchers to be better, tell hitters to be better. But essentially, hitters adjusting, like the hitters making that adjustment isn't a hitter being better.
hitters' success derive off two things. One, how good the pitcher is that day with location, and two, where the fucking ball goes. Because a hitter can do everything right and hit a ball right at someone.
Right at him.
That shift is stupid. We should be removing the odds for the hitter to hit the ball right at someone.
So I was talking
so much sense. I don't know why so many people are so upset about that. Like, so you're mad that the ball's going to be put in play and there's going to be action and the defense has to field with runners on, you know, like, oh, your third baseman isn't in shallow right. Oh, you're mad about that? Like, what? Is it like for real? You know what I mean? That's what the shift is. The shift isn't just, hey, we're going to take, you know, a few of our infielders and move them a little here. It's like, no, we're putting guys in the outfield now. Like, it's ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand. You know what I mean?
Completely. You'll like this, in the words of Gwynny Ball. You know what an old school shift was, and I don't want to date it, but it's like, you know, a step or two to the right, and then you get a jump. That's how you take a hit away. You know, yeah, that is a great. I'm glad that's just as important as the universal DH. Nobody wants to see pitchers hit, and nobody wants to see Juan Soto bunt or Bryce Harper bunt. People want to see the ball hit hard, driven into the outfield over the fence. If you're a good pitcher, people want to see you throw 120 miles an hour and strike everybody out.
Yeah, and again, dude, the shift going away is going to be a good thing. Another thing that apparently they agreed upon is the pitch clock. I don't know the time, but pitchers will be timed. They have to deliver the ball. Now, I get weird about shit like this because I don't think players should be rushed. And I never liked being rushed when I was a hitter at the plate. But I will say, at the end of the day, like, there are some guys and, like, pitchers don't, like, just fucking get on the mound and throw the fucking ball. Like, at the end of the day, like, what are we doing? Throw the fucking ball.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Way too much overthinking going on in the game, dude. Like, at the end of the day, there's, like, I'm not saying there's not, like, first of all, I'm not trying to blame the players because they're getting forced to, like, look at way more fucking numbers than they should. But there's way too much thinking going on in the game before fucking each pitch. And I'm not saying there's usually a lot just to begin with, but now more than ever. I mean, I was watching a segment on MLB Network last week. They're just showing highlights from one of the World Series games with the Orioles and the Phillies, and just how the pitcher was basically just threw it, got the ball back, just went right back on the bump, threw it again, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was
say tempo. You know, for hitters, even when you want to be in rhythm. Pitchers are usually in rhythm. There's usually a tempo. Mm-hmm. Interesting thing with the time, because I remember seeing that it's like 14 seconds in between pitches or something, and like 19 seconds with runners on. So, because here's what's going to happen next. At least this is where my mind went when I saw the 19 seconds with runners on. You're going to have a Jonah Hill analyze every pitcher with runners on base and say, hey, this is when he delivers to the plate this amount of time. So when you're on base, just count to this second and get a good jump, because 80% of the time he delivers within 10 seconds. I don't understand how you put a clock on holding runners.
Yeah, see, the runner situation should be handled completely different with runners on, because
put a clock on holding runners.
You can't put a clock on holding runners because, like you just said, you're going to have teams now just timing pitchers thrown to the plate, and you're going to have to tell. Now you're going to have teams be like, hey, you can't hold the ball for that long. You need to mix up your fucking times to the plate, because teams are going to time you to the fucking plate. So
yeah, things that were already done without a clock. Things that were like, hey, switch up your look, switch up your timing. Like, catch it and go. Oh, this time go a little slower. This time go a little faster. Hold. You know, so what happens when a pitcher is just holding a guy? Because, you know, pitchers get on the bump. They got a base stealer. Dave Roberts, Mike Tiny Felder is over there. And pitcher gets on the bump and he comes set and he just sits there and holds to freeze the runner, waiting for the batter to call timeout. If the batter never calls timeout, pitcher gets a ball on the count.
No, he just steps off right before that second marker. He's got to be counting in his head or something.
That's what I mean. You got to be counting in your head, 19 seconds. How many people's human clock is exactly on to a whatever stopwatch or clock there? That just makes no sense, man. You can't add a clock to. I don't want to say you can't. I'm like saying things like that, but you shouldn't add a clock to holding runners. That just doesn't make any sense.
No, holding runners is stupid. But with no runners on, you want to fucking give pitchers a fucking time limit to fucking
I do think it's just being analyzed the wrong way, like you said, in terms of what's slowing the game down. That is not slowing the game down. The in between pitches and holding, that's not slowing the game down.
Oh, what slows the game down is fucking these pitchers who don't throw strikes.
I was about to tell you, not just don't throw strikes, but they don't challenge hitters. That slows the game down. When pitchers get up there and they throw waste pitches or they try and trick hitters instead of challenging guys to just get them out.
When they're like, oh, it's the fucking second inning and
the eighth hitter's up.
Yeah, sixth or eighth.
And I'm gonna throw him 6 curveballs, 6 of them. I'm gonna throw him 6 breaking balls. Like,
yeah, Ronnie Belliard.
Guys got 4 home runs. The guy's got 4 home runs on the year. I'm gonna throw him two sliders back to back. Now it's 2-0. Then I'm gonna throw him a fastball that he fouls off. Now it's 2-1. Then I'm gonna come back with another slider. Oh, it's 3-1. Then I'm gonna throw him another fastball. I'm gonna throw him a 3-1 slider that he takes. And I'm gonna throw him a fastball that he fouls off. That slows the game down.
Yep. And honestly, dude, say what you want. Go look at Greg Maddox's career. The reason why this dude was so good was because that motherfucker could put the ball where he wanted.
He wanted, man.
It didn't matter if hitters knew it was coming.
He pitching, period.
So when you locate, you make hitters' lives miserable. So pitching, and you can attest to this. You know, you're around the game. Also, lead organizations' philosophies on pitching now is kind of just, hey guys, you throw really hard, go in there, throw it as hard as you can, as long as you can, and fuck everything else. Hopefully your stuff's good enough to beat them. It's not really about pitching, being accurate. It's kind of just like
and not even just as hard as you can, but I don't know too much. I know a little bit about this part. Not even just as hard as you can, but increase your spin rate on your breaking stuff so that it's spinning more and it breaks harder, because now that makes it harder to hit in terms of whether it's a good pitch or a bad pitch. I mean, like I told you today, I was talking with my guy, Tiny Felder about hitters having approaches, and at certain levels, things just become so predictable. And we were making a comment. I was like, at this level, it should be even easier because the stuff's not even good. Like, there's no bite to these breaking balls. You can see it coming a mile away, on top of the fact that they're not throwing that hard. But at the big league level, they got good off-speed stuff. Like shit, I forgot who it was. It might have been Bauer, actually. Every pitch out of his hand looks the same until like half the distance to the hitter. You get what I'm saying? And to me, that is what I would be trying to execute as a pitcher, because that's harder to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
My fastball comes out and it looks like a fastball and it ends up on you. My slider comes out and half the way, it's got the same height, same release point as my fastball, and then it breaks off hard bite. That's what makes, like, even this when you're playing a video game. When we're playing the show against each other, I'm like, yo, all these pitches look the same. I can't tell which one is which.
Oh, yeah. It is, dude. And like, people don't realize that, man.
That's what makes hitting hard. Exactly. And then, now, granted, if you're a Chapman and you throw 105, or what's my man's name on is it the Reds?
Yeah, Jordan Hicks.
Hicks, yeah. And there was another young buck I thought that threw really hard. But if you're one of those guys and you throw triple digits, you have some leeway, because you can throw 102 over the middle of the plate. It's still very hard to hit. Absolutely. But at the big league level, anything over the middle of the plate eventually gets hit. I don't care how hard you throw it. Guys, time it up.
Yep.
It's that simple. It might not happen as often, but guys, time it up. And so that reverts back to, like you've been saying, locate, throw the ball where you want, and you'll get guys out. It's that simple.
Yep.
Doesn't get any simpler than that.
It is that simple. So we'll see, how things play out moving forward. I want to say those were all confirmed for 2023 and not 2022, but I think it's about time, the shift does get addressed, because literally ridiculous.
It's sad.
Also, according to John Heyman, before I get into another thing he said that you'll like, he's got 2 tweets about money. He said, CBT luxury tax threshold remains the biggest issue, impediment of many to a deal. Owners are at $220 million in 2022 to $230 million in 2026. Players are at $238 million in 2022 to $236 million in 26. So the players for this coming season want 18 more million than what the owners are offering, and then in 2026, it's 33 more million. So they're still on
even do with the players, bro. Like,
I don't even know what's going on with that.
It has nothing to do with the players.
Yeah, you want to share some thoughts on that?
The CBT has nothing to do with the players. Like that's the owners trying to get the players to fix the owner's problem. For Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with them. Nothing at all. Like we're literally, here's the other thing. Like we're literally locked out. I don't want to say we're part, but like there's no baseball right now because the owners basically want to continue to make as much money as possible, not have to pay anything, and continue to increase profit. And all the players are simply opposing to is asking for a little bit more crumbs of the pie.
Yeah.
That's it.
So to follow up, he kind of had another tweet following that up, basically saying like split difference and make luxury tax threshold 229. So come to an agreement saying like, well, you're at 220 and 238, come to 229. That $9 million difference is the cost of a number 4 starter, and then he's kind of referencing someone else saying, one person pointed out about the CBT. We're not even talking about money. We're talking about space. So like you said, it's like,
it has nothing to do with the players.
Right.
That's all the owners, man. It has nothing to do with the players. And then I got a little more insight on this arbitration, this bonus pool money, which is why it's a big deal for the players. Like I've been saying, they started at 100. I think they came down to like 80. So take a Vlad Jr., for example.
Mm-hmm.
He's a super 2. That bonus pool money is for players like him who come up, hit 40 home runs, finish second or third in MVP voting. They should be getting paid that current value right then and there instead of waiting another 4 years. You get what I'm saying? And part of that problem, this I think, which we won't even see in our lifetime, maybe, unless they just completely reconstruct this in another 5 years. But part of that problem is because arbitration exists and the service time it takes to be required to become a free agent. If you eliminate those two factors, we never have a lockout. I don't want to say never, but we never have this issue within a strike or a lockout because guys wouldn't be concerned about getting their just due in their pay. Guys aren't worried about becoming a free agent at 30 and then wondering if they're going to get paid again. So for these young guys, it matters because if put it in perspective like this. Talking again with my man Tiny, he put it in a really good perspective. Like if you come up and you get hurt for a month, and that's your first year, you didn't reach the 172 days, I think it is, that's required to be considered a full year of service. So you just played 120 games and you don't have a full year of service until halfway through the next year. So now your first year is technically your second year, but you're 2 years older. Yep. And now your second year is your third year. Oh, and now you just reached arbitration. And now your fourth year is your third year. Oh, and since you came up at 21, you are now 26 and you still got 3 more service years before you're even a free agent.
Mm.
And now you're 29 going on 30 and every team is going to be like, well, he's old. He's only got 3 more good years. Yeah, we're not going to give him a 10-year deal now.
Exactly. It's messed up.
Guys don't get paid. It's messed up, man. Like that's why it just needs to be, you have a restricted free agent after 2 years in the bigs. So other teams can want you, other teams can sign you, or your team's got to match it.
So I want to make 2 more statements. One in relevance to the kind of agreements and stuff, but they did agree for 2022 this season, if there is one, and 2023 to not have, like robo umps. So that's good. We still have that out the game. I don't think that ever should be implemented.
No, that's not coming yet. They're doing it at the AAA level. So it's coming. It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen, but at least we still have that before that changes. And you know what? Who knows? I don't want to sit here and act like a robo ump isn't the worst thing. I mean, honestly, check me out. Let me just say this real quick. Because for all we know, maybe we'll now have a clear definition of a fucking strike zone that every ump can stay consistent with. The hitters can know, the pitchers can know. And also, for that one time in a game when an ump just fucking has his mind blown for whatever reason, he misses it or something, we won't have that fucking issue. We won't have that issue. Exactly. So
I just want to clarify this on what a robo ump is, because like I literally just had to do I had to do some work on this. So it's I forget what system. It might be the same type of technology as like your HitTrax. It's a little box basically.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have machines standing behind the catchers. It's like a little box.
Like sensors and stuff.
It's sensors. And all it is a sensor that literally pings the umpire and lets them know it was a strike through an earpiece in their earphones. And then the umpire says strike or ball.
Now, here we go. When we get the stack, don't hear the ping, baby. I'm telling you, it's going to be.
Now, I got multiple perspectives on this here, because for me, from my playing days, and from coaching and everything, I do. There's actually a thing for evaluating players, and it's called like knowledge of the zone. Like, how well do they know the strike zone? You could know the strike zone really well at the college level and look like you suck because you don't swing at balls that are called strikes.
Oh, dude, you know how many times I got called out on pitches that weren't close? I'd be walking back to the dugout going, that's not a fucking strike. I'm like, dude, are you kidding? Like, if I'm at the plate now, I could be like, oh, that motherfucker didn't ding. I know for a fact.
That's not a strike. Right. So if this is implemented at the highest level, trust me, it's going to be within the minor leagues, and it's not going to take long before it's in, just like the HitTrax system is in college baseball. It's not going to take long before, I don't want to keep saying HitTrax, I can't remember the exact technology, but it's not going to take long before that technology is at the Division I level, and at some Division IIs that can afford it or whatnot. It's going to be at the lower level. So now the process of training amateur hitters is going to involve that, which is going to increase, in my opinion, better hitters. It's going to produce better hitters because they're going to have a knowledge of the zone. Like, oh, that's not a strike. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is a strike. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So essentially, a robo-ump can improve the offensive side of the game.
Well, also this too is this is what it does that I completely agree with, is you go into a game on Sunday and you go, okay, cool. That pitch was that pitch today. And then tomorrow you don't go to that same field with the same teams play and go, and you see the ump roll up, you go, oh, bro, that pitch yesterday, that's a ball today.
Don't even because we do it now. I see certain umpires at my games, and I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. He's got a terrible zone.
Here we go. Yep,
here we go.
Here we go.
Gone. Out of the game.
I know that's like a nuance to the game that some people like, but no, when you're it's not good. It's not good.
Whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, you don't like it.
No, you don't like it.
Do you know how mad pitchers get when they make a good pitch and on, like you said, on Sunday it was a strike and on Monday it's not? Yeah. You don't want that. If there's anything, and I'm twofold on this because I do think human error is a part of baseball. Like, he missed it, or he just, because that's part of the adversity that you have to deal with as a pitcher, that you got to deal with as a hitter. You got to adjust. That is like a nuance and a part of the game. But there's also consistency that needs to be there. And that's where it becomes frustrating, is when throughout the course of a game, one pitch is a strike and one pitch isn't, but they're in the same spot. That's frustrating for a hitter. It's frustrating for a pitcher. Throughout the course of a game, when there's consistency, at least now I know that ball off the plate's a strike. So, yeah, I'm going to swing at it. Oh, I'm getting that ball off the plate today as a pitcher. I'm going to keep living there. I'm fine with that consistency as well. All the robo-ump does is eliminates the ball off the ball off the plate, because it implements consistency on what a strike zone is. It doesn't have to be, it's not a matter of what is a strike. I think it's more of a matter of the consistency of what a strike is that a robo-ump does, which is why, like I said, it's coming because the consistency is necessary when it comes to a strike zone.
There's some like guy from like the 1800s who played baseball. I was like, back in my day, whippersnapper. Yeah, we just got up to the plate and we said, throw the ball, and we hit it. We whacked it. It didn't matter.
So they were basically underhanded it. They were underhanded. It was like slow pitch.
They're also using bats that were made out of fucking
tree logs.
Yeah, exactly. But you boys, you're complaining about everything. Oh, that's not a strike. This is a strike. Oh, that's not.
I got this. I'll tell you what. I got this saying that I tell like kids that I coach everything. I tell them, I go, hey, I've never met a good umpire. I'm not friends with too many umpires. Mm-hmm. So, like, walk up to the plate and don't get in there expecting everything to go in your
That's a great
favor.
point. People don't really know that, like, when your enemy, like, basically the umpire is like I hate to say this, but it's like a cop, dude. You know, like they just around to like annoy you, dude. Like they're not there to help you.
They're officiating. All they're doing
is like parallel like that, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like in that aspect of some things, like, you know, they're never on your side, is what I guess I'm trying.
They're never there for you. I will tell you what. Now here's some elements that are removed, because like there's been times in college and pro ball, you're in the box and, you know, some guys just seem to like you, or like you like them, and they're cool. And like, there's a term, it's like, yeah, he's definitely a hitter's umpire because he's not giving a pitcher that pitch, or this is a pitcher's umpire because he's giving the pitcher that pitch. You know, and then from that perspective, you're like, oh, this guy's on my side today because he didn't call that a strike.
Like, no, yeah, there's been times at the box, I ain't gonna lie, where a pitcher made a great pitch, and in my head, I'm like, oh, I just got rung up, and the ump just goes, ball, and you have to sell it. You thought it was a ball, you have to sell it and be like, yep, I do that. Yep,
absolutely. Don't lose your toe hole.
That's a good guy right there. Yeah, you should never
lose your toe hole.
Yeah, you just you're never out, you know? Like,
exactly. Yeah. But no, man, I'm very much I try to keep a very balanced perspective when it comes to like the implementation of new things in such a traditional game. And I think there's a lot of pros to a robo ump. And like you said, because humans are humans, there's definitely some cons. You're going to get some umpires behind the plate who, just like they miss calls right in front of their eyes, they're going to miss the buzz in their ear too.
You know, and you're going to get umpire. Like, people don't realize you have umpires at ump games now that literally they'll be like, oh, I have a game at 3:00. And they'll be like, oh, I forgot that my favorite like sitcom's on at 6. Strike. You're out. Like, they don't give a fuck, dude. So you mean to tell me that this, like, like this?
Yeah, because that's what's good now. Unless like their jobs are on the line in terms of like, hey, you got to review at the end of the year. How many balls did you miss? Yeah, how many beeps did you miss? Because if it becomes to seem intentional, then it's like, hey, well, we can't continue to have you here. You know. But I will say when I was doing some research on it, umpires, because they've had they did it in the Atlantic League, Independent League. That's like,
how do the umps like it?
So the umps literally, they didn't express any gripes about it really having much of a difference. Majority of the balls that were called strikes, umps said they would have called them strikes. Cool. The only gripe that seems to be consistent with amongst like pitchers and hitters is the high strike, because, you know, as Tiny Man would say, it's a strike, man.
Oh,
let us
top of the
strike,
zone
man.
now. Yeah.
And so when you implement the technology on what the actual strike zone is, because guys are taller, guys are shorter, that's got to operate and move with the hitters. And the top of the zone fluctuates, you know, top of your belly button, beneath your letters, only the belt. And pitchers, you know, there's like an oxymoron going around. A lot of, at least at some lower levels, guys throw the ball up with a higher velocity because guys' swings have been taught to swing up, and it's a harder pitch to hit and get to. So when guys are throwing a fastball right above the belt and they don't get the strike call, it pisses them off. Mm-hmm. When hitters do get called on that strike, it pisses them off because they're like, I can't hit that. The ball's up, you know? So there's a common gripe there. But in my opinion, like I just told some hitters today, I said, hey, you know, because of your guys' swing, you got two options. You can make an adjustment mechanically 20 games into the season. It's not very realistic. And expect some good results. It's not very realistic. Or you can just not swing at that pitch. You get 3 strikes. And if they throw all 3 of them right there, good for them. But you could just not swing at it. And that's how, you know, because, you know, this hitting's all approach. Like you've had the same swing from a mechanical standpoint since you were like 15 or 16. And you might make some slight adjustments with the way you stand or where your hands are. But when it comes time to put action, put hands and put the barrel on the ball, it essentially is the same. You might get stronger and it might get a little quicker. Hitting's all an approach. So you get 3 strikes and it's a matter of what you choose to swing at. In my opinion, that's why I'm also kind of like, oh, cool. You have a electronic strike zone. All right. Guy still has to throw it somewhere for me to hit it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I honestly, and I want to move away from this subject, but when I first, you know, hear the whispers of the robo umps years ago, I was like, nah. But then kind of now just thinking about it over time, like, nah, makes so much fucking sense. Not going to change shit. You won't even notice.
We won't even notice it.
There's something You're gonna like this. According to John Heyman, I'm just ripping all of the news from him today. I'm a little bit behind in some things that happened in baseball over the weekend because I was on a mountain skiing going about 100 miles per hour down the mountain. It was great. Highly recommend it. So I guess sources. Yep. Sources, the low revenue Tampa Bay Rays made a superstar, Freddie Freeman, an offer. Let me reread that. The Rays made an offer to Freddie Freeman before the lockout. Very interesting. Tampa Bay Rays offered Freddie Freeman an offer. Also, Yanks are very interested. Blue Jays, Dodgers, and where the Braves at. But how about the Tampa Rays? Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman's a really good baseball player. Really good hitter. Really good defensive first baseman, too. Honestly, I like Rizzo just because I think he's a funnier guy. Freddie Freeman's pretty cool, too, though. His son's a savage.
Dude,
remember the video of his son?
No, him and Rizzo are fucking
they might be like neck and neck. So it is interesting that and it's funny, too, when they like the narrative, the small market Rays. Dude, I'm sorry. Baseball teams have money. Yeah. Like, there's not players they can't afford. It's just not. They make so much money to where if they wanted to, you can have superstars on your roster. You can be paying them all 5-figure millions. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but hey,
no, you could. I will say this: if the Blue Jays ever got Freddie Freeman, by God, that lineup is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that I think about it, that because that would add some balance. But two of their best hitters are right-handed right now. Like if you
go Bo, Freddie, Vlad, bye. Springer, Bo,
Springer's in there.
Bo, Freddie, Vlad.
Who else is over there?
Hernandez.
Who else is on that roster? Gurriel Jr.'s on that. Yeah, I mean
Evan Biggio.
Yeah. Rays wouldn't be bad. Again, you know me. First thing I think about too is I think of location. I'm like, does he want to go to Tampa Bay?
No, if they had a better field, maybe.
Yeah, does he want to go to Tampa Bay? Because I'm a hitter. Do I want to go hit in Tampa Bay?
No.
Do I want to go to Toronto?
If Tampa Bay had a nice stadium, I really think they'd get free agents. I really do. Tampa needs a new stadium, man. That's why they traded Willy Adames, the kid that's the shortstop. He splits at home or awful. He couldn't hit at home.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though.
That's really why they traded him.
Speaking of stadiums, the Oakland A's are working on putting one downtown Oakland.
Good.
And if they get a new stadium, that's a prime destination. Yeah. That's a prime destination for some big names, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know, man. If I was Freddie Freeman, I know the Northeast sucks in the wintertime, early spring, but it'd be nice to hit with 315 feet down the line.
Yeah, if he could go to Yankee Stadium, that would be absolutely insane.
That's one of the reasons I'd bring Rizzo back if I'm the Yankees. I'd be like, hey, Rizzo, just like you accidentally hit balls out the ballpark in Wrigley. Play here.
Yeah, no, honestly, Freddie Freeman should be on the list of the Yankees and Red Sox based on their ballpark alone. Nothing else. It's just based on ballpark and the way he can hit. Same with Rizzo, too. Rizzo could easily rake at Fenway, but I mean, with that, unless you got anything else, man, we can wrap this up. It's been
man. It was good talk. It's always good. It's always good to talk some baseball. Good baseball talk.
Always good baseball talk. If I had to, pick something to, cement my flag on a hill or something, die on a hill. I don't know if I said it on here, but I'm going to say that not just because I have emotional ties to this franchise, but it just makes so much sense when you look at but salary and players and all this other stuff. But Juan Soto will be a Boston Red Sox via free agency at some point.
Be a free agent? 2 years?
Like 2024 or 5. It's coming.
2 or 3 years?
2 or 3 years. Yep. Heard it here first. It's going to happen. Think about it. Make it make sense. And I was saying that before he denied his 15-year deal, whatever he got. Just makes too much sense.
You know what's funny now? You know what's funny about
no money on their payroll. No money.
Here's what's funny about you saying that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure everybody that is like, hey, he's a free agent next year. You go, he could go to the Sox. And that's every free agent. And you say that about every free agent, and it's true.
It's true.
It's true. They could.
But just with that one, though, alone, just because, and I know they didn't extend Mookie, so chances are they don't want to pay someone like that. But the only reason why I say that is Chris Sale's contract will be gone. JD's gone. Evaldi's gone. All these guys that were eating up their payroll and high signing contracts. The only one they're potentially going to have to deal with is Devers, but they could totally sign both. And all their best players will be young. They're all going to
have to deal with Verdugo at some point too.
And Verdugo will get paid, but I think they sign Devers long term more than Verdugo. I can see Verdugo.
They should not let Devers go.
No, they shouldn't. So that's the only reason why I say when I look around the league and I'm like, who can afford Soto at the contract he's going to look for on top of he's boys with Poppy? I'm just saying. I'm not saying he couldn't go to the LA Dodgers or the Yankees or shit. Even the Angels, they have infinite money and they don't give a fuck. I'm not saying he can't go anywhere else, but it makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox to be in position to offer him that deal he wants. So
it's possible. Also, again, I'm a geographical thinker when it comes to free agents. A lot of times, those Caribbean players, Dominican players, they go to the Northeast, closer to home. They don't come out west when they're a free agent. They go to New York. They go to the Mets. They go to the Red Sox.
And there's communities now, especially in
I'm telling you, there's communities that's a lot more closer to their culture than it is out west. So they don't come out here. That's just a fact. They're not going to go down to the South. They're going to go to the Northeast where, there's a Latin culture in these states.
There's a lot of Dominican.
There's a lot. That's what I'm saying. That factors in. I mean, it factors in for American players who get drafted by an East Coast team and they're from the West Coast. They can't wait to get back to the West, So, yeah. Well, I'm dying on the hill that we won't have a season starting until after April, if we have one. There won't be anything until after April. I mean, they're just owners are just buying time. Unfortunately, they don't realize that the players aren't hurting for any money. And the only people that lose money without a season are really the owners, because players also have a licensing contract with Fanatics that they get money. So those guys.
You know what? I have no proof of this, but just let me say it. It would not surprise me if Rob Manfred was telling the owners, yo, we can miss some games. Let's stick it to him. I'm telling you, dude, that guy's a fucking snake.
Wouldn't surprise me, man, but Fanatics bought Topps. Fanatics bought Topps last year, I think it was, and the players get a chunk of that money. I'm telling you, and especially if these guys are holding out, I won't speak for any of them, but the big contract guys, I thought I just saw some too, but they're helping these smaller guys out. The players are willing to sacrifice this because they're not losing their livelihoods, man. The average annual salary was almost $4.5 million for a guy on a 25-man roster. Unless you're stupid, you can live off of that for a couple of years if you just got paid that last year. That's outside of any licensing. That's outside any licensing money, outside any endorsement money. Based on who you're taking care of and your lifestyle, you're not hurting right now.
No,
you're not hurting right now.
You can actually just pay me $20 million once, and I'd be good.
And I'd be fine. I'd figure something out.
So, I could extend that for a few years.
but because the guys with the big contracts, they're used to shit. It's March. They're used to getting $2 million, $3 million checks every 2 weeks. And when you miss that, you'd be like, oh, okay. But if they're willing to sacrifice that, the owners should realize hey, and that's why I say owners are just kind of hey, when are they going to stop getting tired of missing their paycheck? And if the players are smart, they stand on it because they'll be okay. Because the paychecks that they're missing right now, you'll get back double time.
Yo, honestly, if I was a player with a fat contract like that, getting paid upwards of $15 million a year, dude, I'd be leveraging the shit out of fucking commodities and stocks and shit. I'd be doing some big.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Do you think these players are just literally blowing their money? And here's one thing that people don't realize: as an MLB player, you have families that sometimes they don't work out. You might have child support. You might have alimony. You got kids in school, private school. You got a life, right? But you really don't have time to just go blow your money because you're playing from March until September.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have much freedom like the NFL guys and the NBA guys who get summers off to go vacation the world and blow their money on non-assets. I don't know how people spend their money, but I'm saying, if you think these guys who are making this much money aren't making any type of investments that allow them to be okay without baseball, and we're talking about guys who've been in the big leagues for over 5-6 years, they can miss a year. A year's not hurting them.
Yep.
And if we miss a whole year, the only people that get hurt really are these owners because they make all that money at the end of the year.
All right.
All that money. So, yeah, man. We'll do it again soon.
Wrap it up. Yep, we'll do it again soon. As always, thank you for joining. More on the horizon. And we'll catch you next time.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't